But yeah, I think it's like I said, I think stand-up comedy is a form of genius to stand there on the spot and respond in the moment. And I've
Give
seen.
me a subject.
You want a subject?
Anything.
New South African just landed fresh off the boat in Australia, and he walks out of the airport. Go.
Looks around and says, "Where is the flippin' oaks that's going to carry my bag?"
That's it. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Well, first of all, Barry, thank you so much for making time for taking this call, taking this interview.
Oh man, this is all my thing. I like this stuff.
Oh yeah, I love talking to new people.
Yeah, the thing is that it's like I'm doing a new uh, career move, and it's slacker to talk to people because
Yeah.
I'm doing public speaking. I'm sure Sandy's put that on you.
Yeah, she sent me a couple of things. She was like, don't talk to Barry about his severe drinking habit. She also said, yeah,
The
don't let
drugs,
him.
drugs. Don't forget the drugs.
No, she was quite. She was like, no. Barry is quite nice and easy, and he loves to chat. She basically, to summarize it, she says it's going to be great. But
Okay.
I want to start off by Barry by thanking you because without even knowing who I was, without knowing who Oorsee was, you did quite a great marketing video for us last year. I don't know if you remember Oorsee, the social media
Oh,
that Africans living with
we're
Oorsee.
here, yeah, with Arno.
So I figured, look, we are Oorsee. That's what the channel is about, and and you have your fair share of Oorsee experience as well. So I would like to know a bit more about that. You've performed in legendary venues like the Sydney Opera House and the Albert Hall,
Yes,
the Royal Albert Hall, excuse me. How
yes.
would you compare venues like that or audiences like that with an audience back home? Now, I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking.
Same.
I felt moving abroad made me more patriotic than what I was like in South Africa.
Yeah, I can believe that. It's when you travel overseas, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, but you see all the nice things,
Yeah.
see all the lacquer things. You don't see the oaks that are struggling to make it. I mean, because it's not the whole world is like struggling at this moment in time. But then you realize South Africa's got such a lot to give. There's a lot of crap. I mean, we know that the politicians are crooked. We know that, but you can't buy sunshine, my friend.
Mm.
And what I found in South Africa, no matter what culture you're in, the guys, we cross culture easily. Easily. People talk to each other in South Africa. You can be walking down the road and you'll just bump into somebody out of the blue. Say, "Oh, hello, how's it? No, fine, lekker." But if you try that overseas, they look at you like you're from another planet. Yeah, they say that South Africans are very rude and all that stuff, but I think it's because we're more direct. Very direct. So here's a question. I do T-shirts. I do and those no-connons, but I T-shirts. I
Yes.
thought about bringing some shirts out. They're called kak shirts. Okay, no,
Okay.
and it'll say like South African thing, kak funny. That's a term we use, kak funny, kak strong. I want to do it like a little cartoon, kak funny, kak slow, kak fast, kak this. I think those will work
I'll buy
because
it.
it's something different. And I thought of a great one yesterday, but I don't know if you have to be from the Cape. I just want to write a T-shirt with 4 letters on it.
Give it to me.
Okay, JMSP.
No, I'm from Cape Town. I don't know what that means. What does it mean?
Your mass.
Okay. Right.
I want to do that. Then I'll do it. I'll put JSMP with a picture of a cat.
that'll
I think
sell.
Oaks will love it.
That'll sell. If I post that on the app, and we're what are we now like? There's about 6,000 members on the apps, but our group has about 80,000, 82,000 people. I'm sure at least 10% of them will order it. So bring it
Yeah.
out. Give me the link. I'll post it on there myself, and we'll see how you go.
And it'll be like, where are you going? It's
Is that
like
Sandy?
my wife's just leaving me. Sandy's going. So yeah, that'll be great. I'll do the drawing and say who wants one of these.
Yeah.
Sandy, sorry, just phone Lynn. Tell her I can't talk now.
Okay. So
Somebody else is trying to
this bit
tell
I
her she
didn't.
just can't talk now.
Okay, so this bit I didn't know. Now, one thing you need to know about these interviews, it's anything but an interview. It's just in chat. It's just a
Oh,
nice
brilliant.
easy chat. So Sandy's your wife, I'm assuming.
I hope so.
So I need to apologize. I've been chatting with your wife for the last 2 or 3 days now. Right.
She's
Look,
staunch, eh?
she's nice. She's very nice.
No, but I'm saying she's
Oh
that's the
yes,
deal.
yes. She's like that's what you need to. You're still all right. I mean, I interviewed Ilandre the other day, and wow, they sent me a whole checklist of things that I need to follow down to the letter. But the
Why?
moment the interview started, Ilandre was the chillest guy you'd ever meet.
Yeah.
Second chillest guy after you, of course.
Do you know what I believe? The more you accept your success level, okay,
Mm.
the less arrogant and self-centered you become. I've reached a level that I'm extremely happy, but I like to think that I've always been an easy guy to work with and all that stuff, you know. Um, I just don't understand some guys. They're weird.
Mm.
You go nowadays. Now the big thing is now with a lot of the newer artists in South Africa, all of a sudden they've got bodyguards and flip and personal drivers and managers and this. So let's just assume a big guy in South Africa is earning, let's just go top of the range. The newest guys are earning 80,000 rands for a big show.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
His agent is taking 20%. That's 16 grand gone.
Mm.
Okay. Then he's got bodyguards. He's got transport. He's got this. He's got that. He's got. So the oak's walking away with 40 grand before tax.
Mm.
Why the hell do you need all of that shit? I could understand somebody like Trevor Noah, who's a
Mm.
worldwide phenomena,
Mm.
but why, if you're an oak in South Africa, do you really need that? You don't see John Smith walking around Durban with flipping bodyguards.
No, you don't. No, you don't. How do you find the humor? Now, this is sort of borderlining on what I've asked, what I said earlier about people becoming more patriotic when they move abroad. I'm going to touch on that a little bit more. But how did you find the humor and the acceptance of what you were sharing with them abroad in terms of doing it back home in South Africa
Um,
without offending anyone?
I get a lot of response in my shows, and I'm very fortunate. I'm a very sort of connected comic with my audience. So once the people, even in Australia, come and see me, my humor is generic.
Hmm.
So it's only if there's a lot of South Africans there that I will put in South African isms. But
Hmm.
I always then say to the audience, just hold on a second. I've got to just tell them this because this is what they're paying me for. They're upset. And then then the Australian audience love it.
Yeah.
Like when I did Sydney Opera House, I'll tell you what I opened with. It was 2,200 and something people there. It was chocker. So I opened up. I said, "What a place this is, Australia! I love it. I absolutely love it." I said, "You can go shopping and go to the gym at the same time, because have you been to Coles? The trolleys have got 4 revolving wheels." and you spend enough energy trying to keep that trolley straight that you were going to the place erupted. But all the Australians realized that shit. What do you mean? Because have you tried to push a trolley in Coles? It's all over the place.
I know. Every
But you
day.
see, that's funny. So that's how I opened it. And I just said, it's different in South Africa. We've only got two wheels. Clearly, we're behind you in technology. That's why we're fatter. That's what I,
That's
so
and
that's
that's
what I do. And I just talk about stuff. If you can ask Arno, when we were in Canada, if you go to Canada, if you're on a pavement and you put 1 foot on the road, 1 foot, the car coming towards you has to stop. It's law.
oh.
Okay. So I said, I was walking on a pavement and I wanted to look something, and I put 1 foot on the road because I was looking out like that. And all of a sudden the car stopped. And I was looking at it for like 5 minutes. I didn't realize these cars were waiting for me. And I said, so the whole of Toronto was actually backlogged. Some planes missed their takeoff times and all that. And the people there screamed with laughter because that's what happens. So when I go there, I ask about things that happen
Yeah.
in the country. But then I don't want to say I know everything about your country, but this is what I find strange. Do you know what I'm saying? I said, like, Australian football, that I actually I've been following it. Australian rugby league of Australian football,
Mm.
Australian rules, eh? Aussie
Yeah,
rules.
so AFL, yes.
I said, you know what? It's probably apparently it's the most popular sport in the
It's a
whole of Australia,
it's a
and
great game.
it
It is honestly a
it,
great game.
it clearly makes a lot of money, and teams are making massive amounts of money. Surely you would think they would give the Oaks long sleeves in their jerseys. No,
Yeah. No, they want to be
yeah.
some of those
It's
some
like
of those
Australian rules football is like being in a fight in Benoni, but legally.
yes. Well, yeah, a lot of those players are they barely out of high school. And the thing about AFL that I've seen here now, see now my ADHD is kicking. It's you
How
they
come?
start them off really young and they finish
Yeah.
quite early. So you'll hardly see AFL players past 35 still playing. Not even
Okay.
31, 30 years old. And then they start doing other things. They'll do normal jobs and they make good money while they're playing it. But because I think, as far as I understand it, AFL clubs, most of them are state owned. And then there's like a handful
Okay.
of them that's privately owned. I
Oh, so
actually
you're working for the state?
Yeah, well, I think it's their way of keeping control over it so it doesn't get out of hand, like, say, for instance, FIFA did. I actually had
Yeah.
this conversation with Nas Buerta last year because he knows a lot about it, more than I do. And he was telling me about AFL. I'm like, okay, I'll just shut up. You do the talking. But yeah, it is. My son played it for one term, and it's a wonderful sport. They made me keep score because I'm a parent. Now it's my turn to keep score. I don't know anything about this. I'm thinking rugby. I'm like, why is everyone offside? That's where my head is at. But once I started understanding the rules, it is a very cool sport. Not as cool as
You
rugby.
know, not a school of soccer. When uh, I go to Australia sometimes, or New Zealand, or whatever. Now, particularly, I was in Perth, and I spoke to this guy in a South African pubish type thing, telling me what idiots.
Hello? Where'd you go? He's gone.
Welcome to South Africa, my friend.
Was that load shedding? No, it wasn't. Was it?
Yeah, something
Really?
just kicked off. Yeah, sometimes it happens just out of the blue,
Ah,
but you
you
can stitch
know,
it together. It's fine.
when we left, I left 10 years ago. Load shedding was
Yeah.
about a year back and forth going on. And it was sort of funny. We found it humorous. So we would laugh it off. But then after being out of the country for 2 years, my friends back home says, listen, this ain't funny anymore. Anyway, but glad you're back.
Saying that, this is the first load shedding we've had for almost a year and a half.
Wow. So it's got to be this cold in. They don't like it.
No, do you know what the thing is that South Africans are the South African ANC, they're bankrupt, bro. But I
Mm.
mean, it's a known fact that
Mm.
they got bailed out by Iran. So,
Right.
well, think about it,
Mm.
you know. But isn't it funny? This load shedding has come literally days or weeks after President Trump said, "Hey, stop
Mm.
your shit."
Mm.
And then he basically said, I don't like politics, but the way he said, we're going to stop buying your shit. So
Mm.
you got to think about this. This is my mind.
Mm.
So the South African guys who are the bully boys are saying, well, we won't sell our shit to you. Now, any keen businessman will say, I will buy it.
Mm.
However, I'll give you 50 cents on the dollar
Exactly.
because they have to sell it now.
Mm.
They can't. Who they going to? Somebody's going to buy it, but now the king biller are there going to say, "Oh well, that's not the price anymore." So, but these guys are in big shit here. I don't know what's going to happen, but
Mm.
maybe some sort of semblance will come right. But saying that, I'm not a politician. I just,
No, I'm with you on that. I steer away from politics. That's my partner, my business partner. I'm a married, happily married man with three kids. My business partner, he loves talking to the people that knows a bit more about all of those things, and he does
yeah,
really well at it. But I think after what Trump did, everyone's a politician, whether you like it or not, because that topic is
yeah.
is 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 hot at the moment. So no stress. You were
Trump
telling
is
me,
odd. I mean, he's the only president I think in the history of, besides one of the first presidents, that's actually doing exactly what he said he would do.
yep,
Because the
and
other ocean, the famous thing, we say to some, they catch somebody with fraud around the world. It's not only in South Africa. We will form a committee to investigate. Please, man, don't talk shit.
no, you just
So
go
carry on. Let's go. I'm enjoying this chat with you. It's brilliant.
straight for the throat. That's how you guys. You were telling me a very funny story about some guy you were about to moor in a Perth pub. I was looking forward to the peak of the story. Tell me.
Oh yes. So I wasn't. It wasn't. He just said to me that these Australians are total pooples. He really talked really bad about these guys. They have got no idea how to work. They do this and they play this shit sport, Australian rules football, and this. And I looked at this guy and I said to him, these guys have allowed you to come to their country. What gives you the right to come to their country, accept everything that they've given you, and then still say that a bunch of plonkers,
Mm.
and then slag off their number one sport? And the guy said to me, well, how would you do it? And I said, quite easy, pal. I would go to an Australian rules foot match.
Mm.
I would sit down and say to the closest Australian to me, do me a favor. I've just arrived in this country, but I've from things. Australian rules football is by far the biggest in the western part of Australia.
Mm.
Would you mind explaining a few things to me as the game goes on? I don't want a full conversation. Would you just say that's happened because
Mm.
of that? And I said to the guy, I will guarantee you that the Australian guy will be more than happy to say, oh, no worries, mate, I'll help you. Because you actually complimenting them on something brilliant.
Yes.
But imagine going to an Australian oak and say, you're such a dish, you don't know what's going on. You play rugby like a flip and whatever. No, that's going to give you shit. So I don't understand that. But it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of South Africans in Australia or in worldwide, I think, that
Yeah.
deep down would probably think, hold on, if I could go back, I would go back. If everything stabilized here,
In South
and it
Africa.
was like,
Mm.
if South Africa stabilized and we progressed and we had a positive growth rate and the crime was down and there was lots of employment and X, Y, and Z. So basically, everybody's living,
Mm.
living in. It's funny enough, living in Oz on the yellow brick road. But I'm saying, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of South African guys would come back. because
that is.
my wife's pet thing is she loves it
Mm.
when she meets South Africans who've returned to South Africa.
Yeah, because
And there's lots of
it affirms that it is better back home. I'm a bit in two minds about that. I actually love Australia to bits. I do love South Africa, and there's a part of me, and that's why I started Oorsee. That's why I started this channel because I miss it
yeah.
immensely. I miss the culture. I miss those warm Karoo nights because I grew up in between
Oh,
Sutherland and Fraserburg and those places. You don't get that here per se, but the safety in this country you just can't compare. You just can't compare. It's mind blowing the difference. And this is not my first
no,
country
without a
I've been
doubt.
to. I lived in the UK a
Without
couple of years before I came to Australia. The UK was amazing as well, and I loved the people over there. But the weather sucks. It sounds cliche, but on a Friday afternoon, driving home, I know I'm just going to sit at home the whole weekend because it's ice cold. So this whole culture and lifestyle and everything about it is beautiful, and I won't ever take it for granted. But
no, you should never. I would go to Australia. I wanted to move, but my wife wouldn't go. And it's too late for me now because I'm 69.
you still can come and
So it's
visit. Yeah.
no, I could visit easy. I could do that and I could work. But you see, what I've done is, I mean, I don't know if Sandy's informed you. I'm changing my whole MO. I've become this inspirational speaker.
Mm.
It's called My Life in 3D, where I discuss shit that happens to people in life and then how you can use humor as a tool to overcome it. Even in the darkest times of your life, there is humor. Because it's a natural instinct for people to find humor and even the darkest of times. For instance, very quick,
No,
my
please.
brother got cancer. My brother got cancer
Oh,
and subsequently died. But when no, it's the way it is. When he phoned me up one day and he said to me, "I've got something to tell you, and it's quite serious. I need you to sit down." So, seriously, he's my big brother,
yeah.
and I still get emotional about it. He said to me, "I've got cancer." And I went, "Shit, where did you get it?" Meaning, what part of his body did he get it? He said to me, "Cape Town. That's where I live." And
Sorry.
and until no, don't be sorry. Until my brother died, when we communicated, that's how we spoke.
Mm.
Until he died, until the day he died, he knew he was going to die, X, Y, and Z,
Mm.
but he handled it. And the same thing happened. My father died sort of 10 years before my Buddha had got sick, and he was in hospital. My mother had passed away, and my dad basically had given up. After 4 years, he said he can't do this shit anymore. So then he got sick, and I believe he willed himself to get sick because my dad was quite active.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? He was quite active, but I think he was so lonely without my mum. Even though he sort of went and he had another relationship, but it was crap. But I think it was just from being lonely.
It
So he's
happens.
lying in hospital
Seen it.
bed. He's lying in the bed, bro.
Mm.
And my dad was a tradesman through and through. So he said to Alan and I, "Okay, guys, I'm glad you're here because I clocked in this morning. I'm clocking out tonight and I'm going to go see your mom. It's over." Seriously? So Alan subsequently said to my dad, "How are you going to sleep tonight, Dad?" And my father said, "Like this." Okay, that's what
Oh, bless you.
and 3 o'clock the next morning, he died. So the story there is my father knew he was going to die.
Mm.
He knew it. He chose to go out on a laugh because whenever I think about my dad, I never really got on very well with my dad. I knew he loved me, but it was his own different style.
Mm.
And it was a different time. And when I think about my dad and or my brother, that's the things I think about. The funny shit that they made me laugh.
Yeah.
They were going to die and they made me laugh, bro. So my whole talk is about that. It's about shit, about dealing with bullies through humor, about this, about that, about. So and I'm really enjoying this talk. My only problem is I'm stuck in a catch-22 because
What's that?
people like yourself are thinking now, why do you want to do public speaking when you're so funny as a comedian? Because I want to. That's what it's
Do
about. I want.
do what you like. I've had a bit of a script that I prepared, but screw all of that. I'm just enjoying what you're telling me. Francois van Coke, I interviewed him a couple of months back, and he said something. He said and there's an Afrikaans, hy bemin my. Die
Okay.
kanaal. He's jealous about what I'm busy doing because he used to do something similar, and he loved talking to all these different kinds of people. And that's why I'm telling you, just do what you like. And if it's not about comedy, then it isn't. I mean, to be honest, I've seen a couple of your shows, and one of my favorite jokes was the one that you made about having the cold. So you're snorting shibboleth, so your snot tastes better.
Yeah.
I still tell that joke to, to people over here, to the Aussies. They love it. And I mean,
I
the
hope you put my name in front of the joke.
yeah.
I hope you say this. There's a comedian called Barry Hilton. I know that, Steve.
Now I love doing that, and I also obviously the legend, the main joke. Kom gaan ons braai, kom wanneer gaan ons braai? Kom ons braai, kom ons braai. Yeah,
You
and
can't believe how that's been plagiarized yesterday. I've tried to stop it. It's just nightmare. Pick and Pay took it.
I'm a,
Coca-Cola did it.
I think I've actually made a T-shirt with it on. I said I made it's got a huge Oorsee logo, and it says I am from Oorsee. Wil jy braai?
Okay, brilliant. You see, it's the same thing. But like I have got, maybe we can advertise it on the Oorsee guys. I've got T-shirts that I make,
We do it.
but
Just
it's
send me the link.
fine.
Send me the link. We'll see
Yeah,
if we can get you some
it's
dollars.
my cousin.co.za.
Yes. Now I've actually got a question about that, and I'm going to throw it in
Yes.
there. It's all from the side. It's like, um, uh, so here we go. So, what was the most unexpected place where someone shouted to you, my cousin? In which an unexpected place, like totally random, different country.
I'll tell you exactly.
Ooh.
What's the top of Australia? What's it called? Where the point is?
Oh, is it Cairns? Like
No, further up.
Northern Territory.
The very top, Darwin.
Darwin,
No, is
yes.
that Darwin?
Yes, Darwin.
Darwin. I was doing some work on an international cruise liner, and we went from Sydney to Darwin, from Darwin to Perth on another ship. We had to offload so I met this really cool guy, as an Australian guy, younger guy called James Buster, and we were chatting, and he said to me when we were on the ship from Sydney now to Darwin, he said, "So, do you do ships in South Africa?" I said, "Nah, not really. If I want a free holiday, I'll do it." He said, "Well, where do you work? Do you work like pubs and that?" And I said to him, "No, actually, at this moment in time, I work theaters and big stuff like that." And he looked at me like, "You work theaters?" I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, what's the biggest theater you've performed to?" And I said, "Well, I've regularly done 4,000 people."
Hmm.
And he was like, "Please. And you're working on a ship?" And I said, "Hold on. I wanted to work on the ship.
Yeah.
So I put some stuff out there and I'm working on the ship. And if it's cool," and he didn't believe me. He said to me, "You're talking shit." I said, "Okay." So we were in Darwin
Hmm.
and we were there for 2 days. And about 20 people stopped me in the street over those 2 days and said, "My cousin." So it was in Darwin.
I hope he witnessed it. Did he witness it?
He was right there with me. He said
There
he
you
couldn't believe it.
go.
And we've become big friends now. He's good at it.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I'm saying, yeah, it's because there's so many South Africans out there.
yeah.
I
And
think we slowly we're taking over. We're planting our seeds with non-South African women and
and that's
sort of
that's
creating.
one thing Sandy said that I remember. Something that you say. It's like, yeah, we're taking over. Now, about the working on ships, I'm quite interested because obviously that's something me and my wife thought about many years ago. I mean, what would it be like to live that sort of life? What's the best and the worst part of doing comedy on a ship? Do you have like a set script that you need to like go through every night, or do you improvise? Do you have like a weekly
Well, you do
rotation?
two shows. You generally do two shows, but you do two shows twice. So you do the first sitting, second sitting on, say, a Tuesday.
Mm,
And then on Thursday or whatever the next day is, you do the same thing, but another show completely. It has to be completely different. You have to have at least two 45-minute sets, at least.
at least. And
So that's it. So
and
it's a
and
bit.
no, that's all right. But this is where I'm really interested. And it's not about the I don't want to say the comedy per se, but the thing is, and I've told the same thing to Kevin the other day, is I personally believe stand-up comedy is a form of genius. It absolutely is. And if you go look at a lot about like what a lot of those people do and the stuff that they sometimes need to think out on the whim, it is absolutely
Yes.
brilliant. So
Well, that's what we do. That's what
yeah,
it is. But working on a ship, you work to big theaters. I mean, the theaters are like 1,000 seats,
yeah.
800 seats, 900 seats. So you obviously also you have to learn. You get haters on there.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I was doing a comedy cruise with 5 other Australian comedians, and they clearly were not comfortable with me, except for one guy,
Yeah.
Tom. Forget his name now. Really good, very funny comic, nice guy,
Mm.
very popular in Australia. He was a nice guy, but the other guys basically ignored me like a stop street. Okay. So I went to go watch their shows because I was on. Funny enough, I was on the last because you go on last. So whatever. So I went to go watch their shows, and out of the 5, 3 of them had a go at me in their show
Right.
without naming me, but they
Oh,
were saying apparently South Africa think they got funny people and da 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 da, all that bullshit. So I immediately thought, wow, these oaks have done some research and they're scared of me. That was the normal, because why would you slag me off if you know what I'm saying?
it's a
So,
compliment.
but then after I went on my show and I smashed it, then all of a sudden they came, oh, Baz, that was great. And I said, you know what, mate? This is the first time you've spoken to me in 5 days. Get a life. So that was a bit hectic, but there's some good comics there, man. There's some flipping good comedians there. But
Yeah.
I find that the Australian humor is very uh, coarse, because that's how they. I mean, I think the number one saying in Australia, if you do you want to go for a Barbie? Oh fuck yeah! That's what they say for everything. Have you just come from the shops? Oh fuck yeah! Have you not noticed that? That's
Cole
what they say
Barrison.
all the time.
It's
Hey,
it sounds like Cole Barron. What's Cole Barron? Do you know Cole Barron? He's a famous Aussie comedian. Uh,
he's one of the oaks.
was he on the boat? Was he? Well, don't tell me he was rude to you.
No, no, Cole Barron. No, no, hold on. No, 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 not Cole Barron. I like Simon Kennedy was
Simon
one of
Kennedy.
the comics.
I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah,
But
he's good. He's a good comic.
like I said, I
He's a
love
good
stand-up
comic, but
comedy. I tend to watch a lot of it. Um, some of it has changed over the years, like Mr. Noah. I mean, I really enjoyed the early stuff, and some of the later stuff was actually quite funny. But then, yeah, I think there was a phase where the whole just fixate on Trump thing just got a bit tiresome. But then he's now turned over a new page where he's also going into more serious conversations, and I actually really enjoy that. There's a lot of wisdom in that. It speaks volumes that even though someone like yourself is doing stand-up comedy for a living, there is a
yeah,
serious side to you that is actually
very
very wise.
well. I try that.
I've heard proper wisdom out of this chat tonight.
Yeah, my God. Imagine my father used to tell me I'm lazy and I'm stupid. So that was quite sad, but
Oh,
that's the way it is. And for years I thought I was, because
right.
you tend to believe when you get told as an adolescent or a young kid, you're an idiot, you're stupid, that'll never work. Don't be ridiculous. You can't do that. You're not that funny. Dad. It sort of it winds you down.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time because I turned pro when I was 26, which is still relatively young. But in real terms, I could have turned pro when I was 18, 19, because I had enough material. But every step I went forward, I got knocked back
Mm.
by people who know more than me. So my father forced me to do a trade, which is, bless him. He thought he was doing the best thing for me. I finished the trade. I hated it with a passion. But for 10 years, including my apprenticeship, I convinced myself, oh, this is my life. And I should be happy that I'm an electrician, because electricians are okay, you
They
know.
make good money.
But yes, they do. You know what, mate? After COVID, my earnings went from here to here. All
Mm.
right. We had to readdress life. I've got 6 children, so I'm never going to be a millionaire and buy a new Porsche every year. You know what? Here is the happiest I've been in my whole life.
Yeah.
That I don't worry about being the top anymore. I don't worry about anything other than enjoying my life, because when when I die, eventually people will forget who I am. My achievements that I've done as one of South Africa's favorite comics, if you will, people will forget. So, and those people who forget will eventually die, and the stuff that they've done, they will, the people will forget what they've done. So, why worry about that shit? You just got to focus on being happy. Like, I'm 69 now, so realistically, you know, if I'm lucky, I've got another 20 years. Do you know what I'm saying? With modern technology and all that stuff. So 20 years, why chase to be ridiculously wealthy when I'm going to die anyway? Why not? Rather, I have a jewel now. We readdress everything. Oh, what my one boy, my baby Jack, turns out he's a very good football player. Okay.
Right.
I, yeah. And I've actually, if you will, gone back to work or whatever to enable him to do that, because it's driving here, driving there, flying there, doing this, doing that. And he's good, and he's being noticed by people who actually, I got a call the other day from quite a big side who said to me, will you send us Jack's videos? And I was like, why? No, we're very interested in him. I said, but why must I send you the videos if you know already what he can do?
Don't
So, but the
want to learn
point
his
is,
moves.
and we actually said, my wife and I discussed it with Jack. We said, no, he's happy where he is, because the team he's with now, we think is the way. He's only 14, so he's got a long way to go. But what I'm getting at is, I've changed my whole income structures, if you will, to accommodate the lifestyle that I have now.
Mm.
And it's the best, the happiest I've been in my whole life ever.
I want to speak into
So
that. I want to speak into that because you said a couple of things now that I've got points on. First of all, let's go from back to front. Speaking about the money, I've always feel as a family we are closer when things are tough because we are
absolutely,
broad, we know very little people, and
yes.
we've only got each other to lean on. So when those months come where like it's January, you need to get money in the bank to pay the rent, which is due soon. My wife and I, we're a real team. We work it out, we make a plan, and we always deliver. When things are going really well, like I've got a couple of projects running and the deposits are coming in, we tend to sort of, I wouldn't say drift away mentally, but you become at ease with your surroundings, and you started maybe overspending a bit and arguing about
Oh,
silly little things a bit. And those are things that I've picked up and I've noticed, ooh, well, when it's tough, it's better. So I wouldn't say I purposely try and stay on that border because obviously everyone wants to strive to at least be financially free. But yeah, I now at least know what to be grateful for. The second
what
thing
is
is
financially free?
Well, in my mind,
It's personal. It's a personal thing.
I would say not just to worry about where tomorrow's bread's going to come from. In my opinion, that's it.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I've got a pension. It was going to be much more than it was, but COVID decided to trash that. But I've got my pension that I have is enough to pay everything day to day, more than enough. My wife has made some investments. She says a few properties in the UK that we get a small investment from. We can draw it. And basically, I have to work 2 gigs a month and we live nice. We don't have to go like, okay. That's what I'm saying. That dynamic now makes me the happiest I am. And specifically now when I'm doing this talk, My Life in 3D, it is an exciting chapter. I'm 69 and I'm about to embark on a new career.
I love it.
Okay.
Is
When
there
somebody
any?
said to me the other day, somebody said to me, wow, you're going to do public speaking. You got to start from the bottom. And I said, no, I'm starting with 42 years experience of talking to people. I'm just talking something different. And they went, wow, I never thought about that. Now there's an association in South Africa, Professional Speakers Association, Okay. And there's certain levels you have to do. And the guy said to me, you can skip the first 2 levels completely. And I said, why? He said, seriously? He said, the first 2 levels are learning how to talk. So I'm on the 3rd level by starting. So my speaking career has got a fabulous boost in the arm because I know how to talk on the mic. I know how to present. I know that I'm funny. I know that I can do this and that. So I'm actually very lucky that I can change careers. Well, is it a career change? It's a slightly different deviation.
You're still going to be funny while you're doing it.
Oh
And
yeah, my talk is extremely funny.
it is a university that you got that no one can buy. You can't buy this. This is only experience.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Only experience.
Yes, it's a joy, man. It's fun, and I'm very, very, very lucky. Talk to me now. Talk to me. My daughter-in-law just pulled in now. She's giving me the evil eye.
Tell her
She's
to
not
come
really
on.
my
Tell her
daughter-in-law
to come
yet,
on.
but
Tell her to come on
she's
camera.
dicking around. She should be marrying my son, but she's slapgat.
Tell her to come on the show. The other point that I wanted to touch on, which you mentioned.
No, he wants. Wait a second. This is my future daughter-in-law. She's part of your tribe.
Hi, how are you?
Hoe gaan dit?
Goed, kan nie kla
Dis
nie.
net omdat ek Afrikaans is. Dis hoekom ek 'n slapgat is.
Nou hanteer jy jou so sleg. Ag, sis Barry.
No, she's great, man.
I can see
She
she's
just
great.
got to pull her finger out and get my son to propose to her. What's wrong with you, Zelna?
Not my job.
Okay, she's ready for it, but my
See,
son is
what
still.
is that? Not my job. Yeah, she's right.
It's not her job to make my son propose.
In the way of the Australian, she's not wrong.
He's what?
She's not wrong. They always
She's
speak
not
up.
wrong, man.
Yeah, she
Hey,
always.
here's a funny thing.
Yeah,
I was doing a show in Australia. I think it was with Honor. I think it was in down the bottom somewhere. One of the Adelaide.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I packed this place, and I did 2 and a bit hours on stage. I smashed it. I did an hour, stop an hour. Okay.
Wow.
So the oaks are screaming and going mull and all that stuff. And then this guy, Australian guy, comes up to me, and this is the differences in life. He says to me, "You're all right, mate." And I went to him, "What?"
You're all right.
And the South African guy that was with him said to me, "No, you don't understand. When an Australian guy says to you, 'You're all right,' it means
Top notch. Yes.
top
Yeah,
notch. It's weird. Because if you say to somebody, 'You're all right,' they'll go like, 'What do you mean?' I'm cuck."
We've been here 7 years now, and
Oh, fair.
it took a while to learn all those little lingos, and
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm now starting to speak
Abos.
like that. I'm speaking like that. When I have
Yeah.
interviews, I need to sometimes just apologize to people that I'm sounding so Aussie or using Aussie phrases or mixing my Afrikaans words. Because a lot of times I speak to Afrikaans people and I'm like, oh, I am actually Afrikaans. I do apologize. I just forgot how to speak it. It's a shame.
I was talking to an Australian guy about driving the one time. Okay. And he says, you go down the road and then you come there, you got to go, you do a Yui.
Uh,
And I said to him, but in certain parts of the world, doing a Yui would put you in jail, especially if it's in the zoo. So then the guy went, I never thought about that, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Ah, now we've went way off topic. There were so many things that you mentioned that I
Well,
really want.
carry on, dude.
Well,
Like, Zelda's going to make me lunch now anyway.
okay. So
What do you
one
got
thing
lunch
that I
later?
do want to say, and
Yes, yes.
it's quite ironic that you've mentioned about why do you have to make so much money? You're anyways going to die, and no one's going to remember you after a while. I had the same discussion with Larica Rauch a week ago, a week or two ago.
Well,
I was interviewing her. She's an absolute legend, and she now officially retired out of Afrikaans music, and she's just launched a new album. But I do love writing. I write a bit of poetry. Don't think weird of me, but I write, and the more I try and write, the more Afrikaans I start writing because I obviously miss the language I grew up in. And one thing that
yes.
I wrote just the other day, and I'm going to try and quote it. It's wie onthou vir jou en wie onthou jou pa en jou oupa. Because that's one thing that's sort of in my mind. I've got all these memories that stuck with me that about growing up in the Makuland and in the Karoo, and then my opa who used to sneak me a couple of change to go buy myself some sweets, and my dad who passed away in December 2019, just before COVID hit, and all those fond memories just sort of rushing, and I'm stuck here in a strange country, and I'm asking myself this question: who's going to remember them when I go? And
Yeah.
it stirred some emotions in me and it's topics like that that makes me sit down and start developing and start putting back into South Africa in the way that I try to do by
Yeah.
obviously building the Oorsee app and starting the channel. And the moment that it went out there and it started getting some traction, people started noticing. And now I've got a Walter, who's my business partner. He bought into the app, and he has the same passion as I have. And then Arnu called me, and he's got the same passion. Hence,
Yeah, he's a great guy, eh? I
South
think.
African American. Every time that he's bring anyone anywhere, he gets Oorsee involved, and it boosts the membership because people want to be a part of it. They want to keep that tradition and that culture going. It's not, and that's the motto of the site. The site, so South Africa is not just a country; it's a people. It's a people, and it's just wonderful to see that I wasn't the only one. And you just
More
affirmed it when you started talking in the wise way that only Barry can. That even back home, people are even back home, people still have that same fire inside of them. I do feel that I've only noticed it when I moved abroad, and that's why all these things started happening, and I started making these things and whatever. Because I wouldn't have walked that same journey back in South Africa. I probably would have
yeah,
just
a
done.
different platform, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Now,
anyways,
yeah. So I went totally deep there for a second, and yeah. So you mentioned that South Africans are everywhere. Do you have
yeah.
any great encounters that you can remember of meeting South Africans in different countries that you still think about every so often? Like encounters where people were coming up to you, telling you what your comedy and your stories meant to them,
Oh, that,
who has probably been out of the country for like a decades already.
yeah, that's happened to me on numerous occasions. So I couldn't really single out stuff. But the fact is, it must be like an American guy living in, example, Uganda, And then another American guy comes as a comic, and then this guy goes, "Oh wow, that means so much to me." So there's so many South Africans abroad now that a lot of people come and they say, "Oh man, thank you so much, thank you." And I'm going, "Why? But you paid for the ticket, you know." So there's been a lot. I can't sort of single out one, but I'm very blessed in the fact that people say that to me because I'm thinking, well, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. I'm very blessed.
I've got a little bucket of jokes that not my jokes, other people's jokes that I always sort of revisit when I'm feeling a bit nostalgic.
Yeah.
Your jokes are one of them, and then there's like Tola. What's the
Brilliant.
merry-go-round? The merry-go-round joke that Tola tells, where they go.
Yes, it's
What's
funny. On the horses.
Yes, it breaks me every single time, and it's just special stories like that. And you can't
It's
always
great.
share it with the people abroad. You just can't. I mean, I love the Aussies. They've actually
Yeah.
got a wonderful sense of humor, but they don't always get ours.
You see, if you're walking down the road with a JMSP shirt, only South Africans will understand it.
That's right. I'll definitely I'll definitely order one just for the fun of it.
JNSP.
But
JMSP.
when
I wonder how many oaks will get that. I think everybody eventually.
eventually you're probably gonna have
There's
to.
a little cat there.
Yeah. When I met my business partner for the first time, because we actually only spoke over the internet, and really great guy. He travels the world. That's what he does. He's South African. He was walking to me over on the airport in Brisbane, and he was wearing a T-shirt. I didn't even notice it until after like a couple of hours, but it said not a fork. Like just, but it was obviously spelled wrong and everything. But when I looked at it, I realized, oh,
So, yeah.
that's what it is. We now another thing that I really wanted to just talk a little bit about was using humor in a time of sadness. And
Yes.
when you started telling that story, I realized no, Barry's busy opening up. I'm going to let him go. But it's one thing I've noticed about the Australians as well. I mean, back in 2019, this whole place was on fire. I mean, a third
Yes.
of the country burned to the ground. And we were sitting around the lunch table. We take our team, we're 9 people, take lunch every day together. And they were making jokes. They were making jokes. I literally saw animals on fire on TV just the night before. I'm like, how on earth can you be making jokes about something this
Because
serious?
it's a natural human reaction to try and laugh.
Yes. And
That's why when people say to me, you have to learn a sense of humor. And I say nonsense. Because that's why, if you have to learn a sense of humor, why do babies laugh? Yeah?
that's true.
Have you ever played peekaboo with your child and they
Yeah.
laugh?
Yeah.
Funny about that?
I've got babies.
But they laugh because you don't have to learn a sense of humor. It's innate.
They laugh when
There.
I do it, not when their mother does it. Wait, where is she?
Maybe she's prettier than you.
Yeah. Maybe they're laughing at my face. No, I'm kidding. My wife's very cool. You should meet her. She's in there somewhere.
I'm lucky too. Sandy's very cool.
And yeah, that's exactly what they said. They said that's how they deal with the stress.
Absolutely. It's, you know what? If you think in England during the Blitz, okay, they used to joke in the flippin' underground. They used to tell jokes to each other about the shit that's happening.
Yeah.
You have two choices. You can moan about it or you can laugh with it and get over it quicker.
That's true.
Do you know? I do a story I say about 20 years ago. I went through a really bad divorce. It was horrific, in fact. It was very, very traumatic because I got the kids.
Oh, that's such a Aussie joke, actually.
But that's funny, man.
It is funny. Oh, goodness. What was the joke I heard the other day is when this guy's wife she looked at him, she's like, I don't think you should be going fishing every other weekend. I mean, I think you do it too much. And he looked at it, he's like, you're starting to sound a lot like my ex-wife.
Yeah.
He's like, He's like, have you been married before? He's like, no.
That's right. Yeah.
I like
That's
fish.
so true.
For me,
Me too. I like fish.
I found that
That's
hilarious.
funny.
It is
It's
funny.
funny because I mean that's what. Look at my dad. Like I told you before, my dad was busy dying in hospital, and he made a joke. Ask me, I'm sort of casual on this couch. He made a joke. Hold on a second. I'm
Use
getting a
that.
bit too casual here.
Use that
That's
for your
better.
interviews. No, it looked fine. I mean, I'm actually normally in a t-shirt. This is my work. I'm still wearing the clothes I wear to work. And my wife was
What
like, no,
time?
keep it on for the interview.
8:15.
Yeah, it's 9:15 my time. Are they telling you?
9 hours.
We've been talking for an hour.
That's great. I don't care.
I love it. Well, I think at some stage we probably should end it off, but we're not done because I believe we've got some business together. Now,
Yeah.
you already opened up quite a bit about your future projects where you'll be a
Yeah.
public speaker and an
Yes.
inspirational speaker at that, and I absolutely admire that. Now, believe it or not, public speaking is something I actually thoroughly enjoy. I never knew I did until I had to do the speaking at an event I've done in South Africa. Me and a couple of mates, we started our own sort of mountain bike events company
Okay.
for a bit, and I had to do all the speaking, and I really liked it. And then coming to Australia eventually, when I did my first big Oorsee giveaway, where there was a couple of hundred South Africans in front of me, and I had to hand out these prizes. And I just grabbed the mic, and it just all came so naturally. And I actually enjoyed
Well done.
and making jokes, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So I really admire it, and I'll definitely keep an eye out for it because I'm still young in it, and I would love to learn more about it. And
There's a secret.
who better to
So
learn from than the master himself? I
I'm
know,
not the
right?
master, but I'm a bit. Okay. This is how I would do it.
Mm,
You open with a joke, you have a joke or two in the middle, and you close. If you're doing like a 10-minute speech, that's what you do.
mm.
And if you want, you can go online and go to talkfunny.co.za, and for 479 rands, I believe, you can buy my course, and it shows you how to create your own one-line jokes.
I want I want the links. I'm going to
I'll
put
send
all
you
the
the link.
links.
Do a special Oorsee thing
Mm.
that you can get it. How much is? What's an easy price in $10?
Well,
How
in
much is
in Australia, yeah, a tenner is nothing. Yeah, that's fine. $9.99.
Yeah, $9.99.
Yeah.
Just nothing. So I do that. So that's the thing that because I like helping people to create jokes. And here's a funny thing. There's a comedian in England now, a youngish guy, that gets prompts from the audience and makes a joke up. Okay. And
Wow.
they saying, wow, that's brilliant. But then I thought, I've been doing that for 35 years. Give me a subject. You've heard me say it. Give me a subject. I'll tell you a joke about it. Boom, boom. So I
Yeah.
thought, it's amazing. So I was actually brilliant, but I was 35 years too early.
Yeah.
So,
I saw a comedian like that, an American guy. He was just not the other day. I saw him on is it the Piers Morgan show as well? They interviewed him. But yeah, I think it's like I said, I think stand-up comedy is a form of genius to stand there on the spot and respond in the moment. And I've
give
seen,
me a subject.
you want a subject?
Anything.
New South African just landed fresh off the boat in Australia, and he walks out of the airport. Go.
Looks around and says, where is the flippin' oaks that's going to carry my bag?
That's it.
Boom,
Oh,
boom.
I must say that's one of the things. I've only been back to South Africa once since I left in 2015. Me and my wife and my son went back briefly in 2017 just for a visit. And that first sound when I walked out of that airport, I heard was the one guy told the other guy, "Jay, talopai saka."
He
That
said, Jay, massa. Uh-uh. Listen, Brew, I love you lots, but I have to go.
No, that was my line. I was going to cut the conversation short.
Okay.
So,
I appreciate this. You know, it's so nice talking to somebody. It's so nice talking to somebody that actually doesn't give me the standard. Oh, so when did it all start? And how did you? Oh man, it drives me insane.
there's lots of
But
videos.
I appreciate the time,
Yeah.
and I have to rock and roll, my bro.
I need one more thing from you. I need one
I'm
more.
not sending you.
I need one more. You've given so much advice. Last sentence of advice for the Oorsee audience that that they sitting at home, they've just light the fire on a Friday night, they've opened up a beer, but they've got that longing inside of them for back home, but they know circumstances don't allow them to just pack up and go. Go.
Don't drink South African brandy because you'll end up clapping the wife.
No. And on that note, Barry, thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing. It's been an honor. I'm a huge fan, and yeah, we'll talk again.
And all the guys from Oorsee for pulling in. Thank you very much for supporting me all the years. I really, really do appreciate it. And hope to see you guys in Aussie soonish. Tell Arno to get me a tour. We'll make it happen.
Arno, he watches all my videos. He's my biggest fan. Arno, you heard what Barry said. Bring him over again.
Be cool. Ciao.
Cheers.
Ciao. Bye-bye.